Howdy folks, today we're going to show you, or I'm going to show you how I made some paper cartridges for my 50 caliber muzzleloader. I've got a inline System 1 Thompson Center. It was made in 1997. They don't make that kind anymore. It's percussion ignition. Anyway, you'll see that gun once I get done with this part of the video, and then I'll add in the shooting I did. So I started experimenting with different sizes of dowel rods to roll these. I started out, I don't know what happened to it, but I had I think it was a 7/8, because I thought it might be better to have one a little bigger in case they squish and everything. Those are too big. I think this is one of those. Didn't work too good. And then I tried 3/4, and it worked, but I had a hard time getting past my full turkey choke that I got in the end of the thing. And it's a real pain having to take the choke in and out every time. So I bought 3 dowel rods. I work in the loading dock of an Ace Hardware, so I get a discount. So it was like $5 for me to buy 3 dowel rods. So I tried 5/8. Now technically 3/4 is the closest to the 12 gauge bore size. But by the time you add that paper, and then after you dump the powder out of these, then all of that gets smushed in there. And then when you hit it with the ramrod, this smushes and compresses and gets, to create your gas seal. But it goes down past that choke pretty easy, and then you don't have to worry about breaking your cartridge open when you're trying to get it jammed past that choke. So I don't get real technical here. I don't have a template or anything like some other videos I've seen of people trying to do like 18th century. This is kind of where I got the idea, is the 18th century paper cartridges. But this is a little over 6.5 inches long. I didn't really measure it when I cut it. I just eyeballed it, and I'm like, oh, that looks good. So 6.5 inches is about right. You could probably do 7. I'm just going to roll it a couple of times. So that's about where I want it. Now this is just packing paper, like comes in an Amazon box or anything you'd order online. I'm sure you could buy a roll of it if you didn't have any around, but in this day and age, most all of us have this kind of paper that comes in packages, and it works really good for a lot of applications like this. So I like to use a purple Elmer's glue stick. Wouldn't have to be Elmer's, that's just what I happen to have. But I like the purple because you can see exactly where your glue is. And I just put glue just like that, the width of the end of this thing on an edge. And then I take the other edge, and I just keep it as tight as I can, and I roll it. Then I run my fingers along the seam a little bit. Now, you push your dowel rod in a little bit. And you can kind of crimp this, or you can, so I've seen people use like a choking block. I just crimp it a little. This is just a little piece of wax thread left over from leatherworking. I just tie an overhand knot, and I flip it. And I tie a square knot, so right over left, left over right. And I take my dowel rod and I just push it in, and kind of, you see how it flattened that out a little. You pull out your dowel rod. Now you take, this is a Lee adjustable shot scoop. I got it set for 1 ounce. That's what I got this one at. This is number 6 shot. I filled my container too full and I'm spilling. And just dump that in. You want to kind of shake that and get it to the bottom. Now, after the first couple times I was trying this sort of thing, I ended up having a little gap between the powder and shot, and then I'd end up with shot in my powder. And when I was messing around with my 50 caliber pistol, I had shot get stuck in the flash hole, and your gun doesn't go off then. So I'm shoving a rolled up piece of paper or fold it up, wad it up, whatever. And getting that down in there. You want to push that down tight. Pull your dowel rod back a little bit. Not too terrible much. Get another piece of string. And tie that off. And we're going to flip it. And do your right over left, left over right, square knot again. And you can get rid of those tails. Need them around in your way. Okay. So now I test it. No shot comes out, that's what you want. Now with this gun, I'm setting this, I got my powder measure. It's not going to focus. Anyway, it's set to 75 grains. I'm using 2F Pyrodex. I bought some of it just to try it in my cap and ball revolver because it was cheaper than 777. And those were the only two kinds of black powder substitute or black powder period type of thing I could get a hold of at the time. And I don't really like Pyrodex all that much, so I'm just going to use it up in this shotgun when I'm plinking. So you dump it in there, get your fingers down to where it stops, and flatten that out. And I just fold that in half, fold the other side to the middle, and then after that you just kind of fold it however you feel like, or at least that's what I'm doing. So that's how I made the cartridge, and then I'll edit the video of me shooting them in this, and have fun watching it, and thanks for watching. Howdy folks. Today I got my Thompson Center System 1 muzzle loading 12 gauge shotgun. I got a full choke turkey tube on here from Thompson Center. This is a rifle scope because I got a 50 caliber barrel for this too, you might have seen. One of the screws is stripped out on the scope mount, so I can't get the scope mount off, so I just leave the scope on. Stripped out when I bought it used. So today, for shooting this, I'm going to try it for the first time ever. Made a paper cartridge, kind of like they would have had in the Revolution. I got a mixture of 6 and 7.5 shot in here, and powder. So what you do, you tear that off. Dump your powder in. Make sure you got it all out. I'm gonna just see if I can't get that down in there. And I lost some pellets. I don't know if I get past that choke or not. See, well, the pellet stayed in at least. Okay, now get it capped up here. I got some milk jugs set up there. I got another camera a little closer to them, so we'll see what it does. Cap didn't go off. Try this again. Well, it works. Try another one. tough with that choke tube on there to get the powder to go down the barrel. Just gonna add this little piece of paper on top just to get a little better gas seal and maybe get it so my ramrod's long enough to bring my range rod with me if I use these again, I guess. If I didn't have the choke tube on, it would be perfect. With that choke tube, it lengthens it just enough that this ramrod ain't quite long enough. Getting safe here. Using CCI number 11s. Used a capper on that first one, but my experience with those cappers is a lot of times if you load them with more than one at a time, the next one after you put it on goes flying onto the ground, and that kind of defeats the purpose. Alright, got her loaded and capped again. We'll fire one more shot. That one had a little more power to it. So you should keep that extra piece of paper and stuff it in the end so you get a better gas seal, I guess. Sorry if I looked away. I said you should, when you rip it off, keep that piece of paper and push it down the barrel. Not sure if you heard it because I looked away. Sometimes it doesn't pick up then. So anyway, it's a fun way to shoot it. It's about 10 degrees out here right now, so that's all I'm going to do with it. Sometime I'll bring it out when it's warmer and load it with the wads and the more conventional, more modern way, but that's the way they would have loaded them back in the Revolutionary War, I guess. They would have had a different load than birdshot in there, but that's the basics, so that's where I got the idea, and a lot of fun. Thanks for watching.